absolute classic today. If you don't know what you're looking at already, you've probably never seen it before. We're doing Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. One of, if not my favourite Nintendo games ever. I'm just going to start a new file and maybe play through like, a majority of like the first castle. We're just going to be Gav, why not? Let's go. So there's a little bit of an intro story, it doesn't take too long. So essentially your uncle is going out to the castle to help Princess Zelda, who's telepathically communicating that, she's in trouble. There's a wizard, Aghanim, who's essentially trying to corrupt the king and take over the kingdom, establish a dark world, and essentially bring darkness to the kingdom of Hyrule. So, pretty standard fare for a Zelda game, but this is just one of, if not the most influential games on this genre. There are definitely other what I would call Zelda clones out there, but this is probably one of the most influential ones, if not the first Zelda. You get things like items in this, so this game introduced the concept of like a magic meter, where you can use items, you can pick up items. I haven't played this for a very long time, but it brings back a lot of good memories. I would have finished this game at least 5 or 6 times as a kid. Even just like the graphics, the atmosphere, the music, they just nail it. Like, it's just bang on. It's one of those top of the top games in terms of quality, longevity. I can't say pretty much anything better about it. Just exploration as well, like finding secrets. The typical Zelda secret noise. That's pretty much one of the first games you'll hear it in, and this is where it gets a bit more fun. So your uncle's been taken out by the guards. Technically, I think he dies, which is pretty dark. But off we go. We're gonna start attacking some evil soldiers. Get them. So in this case, I think there's a few items. We've got some magic meters, so now we can start using our lantern, which is pretty cool, so we can make the room a bit lighter. So there's some really interesting, mechanics in this game. Each item's got a lot of unique things it can do, but we're now going to break into the castle, so this is where, shit starts getting real. If I can say that. I'm not monetized, so I don't care. Alright, let's just go straight in the castle. So we're going to try and rescue Zelda, who's in the dungeons, so we're going to just go hunting down for the dungeon. Usually I'd spend way more time actually like fighting all these guys and having a bit of sword play, but I'm just going to go straight for the dungeon. But I used to have so much fun at this part of the game, just exploring the castle. There's so many places you can go in this castle that you don't actually really need to go, like up the top of all these areas, and there's things you can find, like little chests and just more soldiers to fight. So like, it's just such a fun start to a game. It sort of teaches you what the game's going to be like. But yeah, we're going to go down to the dungeon, which is a little bit like a tiny dungeon in itself to get through. I think it's got a boss key and a few things. It's got keys. There we go. We've got a map now, so we can actually have a look at the dungeon. So we've got the ability to look at where we are and where we're going. So some of these concepts were really pioneered in this game or this genre, one or the other. Link to the Past is just an absolute classic. I'd like to think probably a lot of the people watching this have at least heard of this game or are aware of it. And if you've never played it, oh my god, like, get on it. It's such a fun game. And I'm only going to show you like a very small part of this game. This is an adventure game. It goes for a very long time. This is just the introduction sequence, if anything. And the main character too is so much fun to control. This is one of the first games, I reckon, where there was a character that had like quite a lot of personality to him, in the way that he moves, the things he does, just so many little animations. Like, this is one of the first games I played with a super animated main character. You could argue maybe like Mario is similar. Mario's got quite a lot of personality, but Link himself, is just very well designed as a character in this game. Like things like if I grab this and try to push it, like he's really trying. There's a lot of thought that goes into how you relate to this character, because you are this character for the whole game. So you really want to relate to him, and you want to be on his side. But, even this song here, this song is classic. There's a lot of games in the genre that reuse this song, such as Zelda the Wind Waker uses this song when you're talking to the King of Hyrule at the end of the game, but it's like a really slow orchestral version of it. So yeah, definitely if you're a Zelda fan, like, you'd better be able to recognize this song in other games, because it's reused a lot. But this is like OG, this is the first place that it was in. So there's sort of like a boss of sorts here. I'm just gonna cheat a little bit and use some pots. So I think this does about maybe like oh, there we go, 2 and he's done. So this is the big key, which, you know, just opens this door here. And of course, you know, rubies before women, am I right? So we're saved Princess Zelda and we just need to rescue her. So I'm gonna probably go till we get to the end of, and just have a look at the overworld just to show you the scope of this game. I didn't read any of that, but of course I understand. Zelda's one of those classic games where they'll ask you all these questions in a massive dialogue, and then at the end they'll say, do you want me to not repeat what I did not just say? And you're like, oh, do I say yes, or do I read that all again? There's some pretty good memes revolving around that sort of thing in Zelda. There's an owl in Ocarina of Time that just talks for a very long time, and then at the end just says, like, you know, something like, should I repeat myself, or do you not want to hear what I said again? And you always pick the wrong option and have to read it all again, and the text moves super slow. Anyone that knows what I'm talking about, yeah, Kapora Gabora, it's a thing. Alright, so we're pretty much just retracking our steps. Usually as a kid I would have fought all those soldiers again, because I was really angry at them, you know, how dare they kidnap Zelda. and this is a hard bit too. As a kid, I had no idea where to go next. There's sort of like a bit of a secret that you have to go to. So in this case, we have to actually push open this statue to access the basement. As you're noticing, some soldiers charge you and some ones don't. So I actually just ignored that as a kid and didn't read it, and got super lost. But really, what you have to do is come up. I think in this room, the chapel or the church or whatever this room is, or it might be the throne actually. Yeah, it's behind the throne. So in this case, you just have to push this thing. There we go, like that. Maybe the other way, maybe? Yeah, there we go. But it took me a very long time to figure that out as a kid. So now we're going into the basement. And as you'll see, you know, we're in the dark now, so we have to find some lanterns just to see what's going on. So cool little mechanic there, right? Completely changes the way that the area feels and plays. So pretty fun. I was really impressed by that as a kid. I remember I was like, wow, it's sort of one of the first games that showed me that sort of mechanic. Like being stuck in the dark and only having like a very small cone of vision over what's going on. But it's such a common mechanic now. I mean, how many games have you played where you have that little limited cone of vision? Like, it's such a commonly used mechanic now, especially in these sorts of games. Right, so like, it's cool to see like where a lot of these concepts were sort of pioneered, I guess. Back in the dark, I think, yeah, back in the dark. So we're almost there. I used to find this area so hard as a kid. Now it's like you can do it with your eyes shut. But I guess as a kid, different things are hard for different reasons. So I don't know if there's a lantern. There we go. So now I can actually see what I've been walking around. I was like that moment when you finally get to see what the room was that you were walking blindly through the whole time. So I think there's a key in here somewhere. Oh, there we go. That was easy. So I'm just going to ignore most of these enemies. But I think we're a couple of rooms away, so you actually can come back here later on and bomb that wall to go and get some money, I think. But in this case, we're going to push a block, so it's sort of like a really small puzzle, I guess. But at this point, we're pretty much in the clear, so we're just trying to take her to what's called the Sanctuary, which is somewhere where she's safe. not truly safe. Some puzzles in Zelda are a little bit, not really like puzzles, they're just like chance. Like in this case, I can pick one of two levers, and one of them is good, one of them's not so good. So I think it's this one, maybe? Yeah, but if you do the other one, not fun times. Enemies. So there's some fun little things like this, but we're now in the Sanctuary in this case. Again, classic Zelda song, you might have heard it remade in other ones. Definitely been reused a few times. And talk. I think it's going to be another, like, do you understand what I said, maybe? Hopefully not. Yeah, see, do you understand? Yes. Don't talk to me again. I think you get a heart container here, so your life increases, yeah. So again, that's a super reused concept in a lot of games, picking up an item to increase your health permanently. I would say Zelda is probably the first game that did that. So just to show you how big this game is, and this is like half of the game's world, You know, it's massive. Like that is a huge game. So, and inside there's 3 dungeons in the light world and 8 dungeons in the dark world, or 7, 8 if you count Ganon's castle. So far out, like it's a huge game. If you haven't played it, get on it. In this case, again, classic Zelda song, the overworld theme. But yeah, if you haven't played Link to the Past and you're a Zelda fan, you're not a Zelda fan until you play it. But hopefully this is a fun little blast in the past for some people today. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.